India wants work, it wants a lifestyle, and it wants to see itself as one of the most stable market economies in the world.
Direct selling in India is all set for New India. We have seen young people joining the direct selling industry as an entrepreneur. And if you see the age bracket of 25, they are taking it direct selling industry as a very serious industry.
Today, India aspires to create the Naya Bharat, where dreams and aspirations are destined to become reality. Direct selling, since its inception, has been one of the driving factors behind India's post-liberalized economy. The ease of doing business in New India, coupled with government schemes such as Make in India, Skill India, Startup India, and others, have uplifted the entrepreneurial spirit in the country. With direct selling and its progressive stature, the industry has also been especially aided by monetary institutions via financial inclusion. The direct selling industry is a thought leader and is among few industries who have been a pioneer in empowering women in the country.
So there are about 53% of the direct sellers, they are female workforce in direct selling industry. So it started the supplement income. So the ladies at home, those who don't have too much of option of working in office, they are taking it as an opportunity to really make some supplemental income for themselves.
Direct selling has not only proved to be one of the leading employment and work-generating sector, but also is miles ahead of other predominant sectors in the market in terms of job and wealth creation.
Government is planning to push around 500 million of skilled workers by 2022. I think this particular sector has a potential to provide kind of mass empowerment and livelihood for people.
The combination of direct selling and entrepreneurship have not only helped MSMEs and SMEs, but it also helped in giving growth objective to Indian economy.
So the New India is all about Make in India, fair enough. So what is the direct selling company coming to us for? They've got to go to the big guys. They want new entrepreneurs who are coming up, who want to put up the setups. And so direct selling companies want people like us or maybe others to put up a goods manufacturing facility in India as per international standards.
The Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India, had notified the direct selling guidelines in 2016.
Connecting with state governments for the last, I would say, 10-12 years, if not more, and holding workshops, round-table conferences, one-on-one meetings to speak to the regulators, speak to various state governments and the centre as well, to explain the difference between what are the characteristics of a good direct selling entity.
The Indian Direct Selling Association, the only organization meant for benefiting direct selling industry, has taken great.
Yes, indeed, the direct selling will lead to creation of New Bharat. Good morning, welcome to all. Welcome to this webinar on regulation of direct selling in India. My name is Chetan Bhardwaj, and first of all, आप सभी को, आपके परिवार को गणेश चतुर्थी की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। आशा करते हैं मंगल मूर्ति ये हमारा देश और दुनिया इस समय जिस महामारी के दौर से गुजर रही है, जिससे हम जूझ रहे हैं, आशा करते हैं विघ्नहर्ता जल्दी इसको दूर करेंगे। और आज से पहले मैं आज हमारे डिस्टिंग्विश्ड पैनल मेंबर्स को आपसे इंट्रोड्यूस करूं। आइए समझने की कोशिश करते हैं कि डायरेक्ट सेलिंग रूल, और जिसके बारे में आई एम श्योर डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े प्रत्येक व्यक्ति ने सुना है, क्या है डायरेक्ट सेलिंग रूल। तो ये जो डायरेक्ट सेलिंग रूल का इशू है, ये प्रोबेबली शायद उतना ही पुराना है जितनी पुरानी डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री है, कम से कम हिंदुस्तान में। और वर्ल्ड ओवर डायरेक्ट सेलिंग के लिए एक स्पेशल रूल की कल्पना या एक स्पेशल रूल के लिए प्रयास किए जाते हैं, मेनली दो अप्रोचेस से। पहला, ऑफ कोर्स, टू सर्व एज अ गाइडिंग फोर्स फॉर द इंडस्ट्री, एंड सेकंड, टू hope that a specific law for the direct selling आपको शायद जो और 50 या 100 लॉज आप पे मिस अप्लाई होते हैं उनसे भी आपको कहीं ना कहीं दूर कर देगी. तो फॉर एग्जांपल इन इंडिया, in absence of a specific law for direct selling, many times we have seen that legitimately working direct selling companies के ऊपर कहीं ना कहीं PCMCS बैनिंग एक्ट की धारणाएं गलत तरीके से लगा दी जाती हैं. अगर आप वर्ल्ड ओवर देखेंगे तो गवर्नमेंट्स हैव बीन ट्राइंग टू एड्रेस दिस इशू फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम. अगर आप बात करें ऑस्ट्रेलिया, इंडोनेशिया, कोरिया, मलेशिया, फिलीपींस, सिंगापुर, थाईलैंड, वियतनाम, ये सब वो देश हैं जहां पर कहीं ना कहीं डायरेक्ट सेलिंग के लिए एक अलग लॉ या एक अलग रूल का प्रावधान है, जिसमें उन्होंने क्लियर डिफाइन किया है डायरेक्ट सेलिंग मॉडल किस तरीके से पिरामिड या पॉन्जी से अलग है. इंडिया की अगर हम बात करें तो फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट इन टर्म्स ऑफ गिविंग सम लीगल क्लैरिटी टू डायरेक्ट सेलिंग was taken in 2016 when the Department of Consumer Affairs under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Trust Distribution came up with direct selling guidelines in 2016. Now direct selling की ये जो guidelines है, these have proved very vital to the growth of the industry. अगर मैं आपसे एक छोटा सा यहाँ पर एक फैक्ट जरूर शेयर करना चाहूंगा. 3 साल पहले, अगर हम डायरेक्ट सेलिंग गाइडलाइंस के 3 साल पहले की बात करें, यानी कि साल 2013-14 से साल 2015-16, इंडस्ट्री की जो CAGR इन 3 सालों में रही थी तकरीबन 5.5% के आसपास रही थी. 2016 में जब गाइडलाइंस नोटिफाई हुई, 3 साल उसके बाद यानी 2016-17 से लेके 2018-19 इंडस्ट्री की CAGR 12.5% हो गई. तो आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि एक लॉ की हिंट मिलते ही इंडस्ट्री के अंदर कितना पॉजिटिव सेंटीमेंट जनरेट होता है, जो कि क्लियरली ग्रोथ में भी रिफ्लेक्ट होता है. और इसके अलावा हम काफी मानना भी ये है कि काफी बड़ी विश्व स्तरीय कंपनी जो भारत में आना चाहती हैं, प्रवेश करना चाहती हैं, वो भी कहीं ना कहीं एक वेट एंड वॉच की पॉलिसी अभी अपना रही हैं, देख रही हैं कि भारत में डायरेक्ट सेलिंग का लीगल एंगल किस तरह से आगे एड्रेस किया जाता है, एंड देन प्रोबेबली दे विल टेक अ कॉल ऑन दिस. एज अ डायरेक्ट सेलिंग फैटर्निटी, जो क्वेश्चंस आज हमारे सामने निकल के आते हैं, क्यों एक डायरेक्ट सेलिंग की एक स्पेसिफिक लॉ की जरूरत है, ऐसा क्या इंडस्ट्री कैन होप टू अचीव जो कि अभी हमारे पास नहीं है, पर यस, डायरेक्ट सेलिंग के लॉ के आने के बाद वी विल बी एबल टू डू दैट. इन्हीं जैसे कुछ क्वेश्चंस को डिस्कस करने के लिए आज हमारे पास एक बहुत ही स्पेशल पैनल है, जिसके पैनलिस्ट से मैं आज आपको इंट्रोड्यूस कराना चाहूंगा. सबसे पहले हम स्वागत करेंगे श्री राहुल शंकर जी का. राहुल शंकर जी चीफ ऑपरेटिंग ऑफिसर है हिंदुस्तान की अग्रणी डायरेक्ट सेलिंग कंपनियों में से एक मोदी केयर लिमिटेड के. और राहुल जी को 22 साल से ऊपर का एक्सपीरियंस है मल्टीनेशनल रेप्यूटेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस लाइक फिलिप्स, रिगलीज, एवॉन एंड ऑफ कोर्स मोदी केयर में वो काफी समय से अब जुड़े भी हुए हैं. राहुल जी को एक्सपर्ट माना जाता है टर्न अराउंड एंड ग्रोथ स्ट्रेटेजीज में. एज हेड ऑफ प्रॉफिट सेंटर इन्होंने वेल एस्टेब्लिश्ड एज वेल एज स्टार्टअप ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में भी काम किया है, और शायद कहीं न कहीं इसीलिए उनको एक टर्न अराउंड स्पेशलिस्ट के तौर पे आज इंडस्ट्री में मान्यता मिली हुई है. किस तरह से एक स्टेडिली ग्रोथ करती या एक स्टैग्नेंट कंपनी को किस तरह हाई ग्रोथ फेज में पहुंचाया जाए, ये राहुल जी की स्पेशलिटी हमेशा से रही है. तो राहुल जी, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है सर आपका. राहुल जी से आज हम जानना चाहेंगे इंडस्ट्री पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ दिस इशू. सेकंड मैं इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहूंगा श्री विक्रम हेगड़े जी को हमारे साथ. विक्रम हेगड़े जी के बारे में आपको बताना चाहूंगा, भारत की प्रतिष्ठित नेशनल लॉ स्कूल ऑफ इंडिया यूनिवर्सिटी बैंगलोर से ये गोल्ड मेडलिस्ट रहे हैं, और आज को फाउंडर है VH लॉ चैम्बर्स के. विक्रम हेगड़े जी मैं कहना चाहूंगा भारत के उन चुनिंदा लीगल एक्सपर्ट्स में से हैं जो शायद सोशल मीडिया पे काफी एक्टिव है. हर विषय पे, हर करंट अफेयर्स पे इनके लेख पब्लिश होते रहते हैं, जिन्हें लोग बहुत वाइडली रीड करते हैं, बहुत वाइडली इनको शेयर करते हैं. विक्रम जी माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट में एडवोकेट ऑन रिकॉर्ड भी हैं, और जैसा मैंने बताया इन्होंने अपनी VH लॉ चैम्बर्स फॉर्म शुरू करी है, और इनसे हम जानना चाहेंगे एज एन लीगल एक्सपर्ट इनका इस विषय पे क्या सोचना है. सो विक्रम जी, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है सर आज के सेशन में. मैं इंट्रोड्यूस कराना चाहूंगा हेम पांडे जी को. हेम पांडे जी को हम सभी जानते हैं, वो किसी परिचय के मोहताज नहीं है, बट फिर भी मैं जरूर बताना चाहूंगा हेम पांडे जी 1982 बैच के IAS है, हैप्पीली रिटायर्ड नाउ, एंड ड्यूरिंग हिज लास्ट असाइनमेंट एज Secretary of Department of Consumer Affairs, he was the one who superintended this entire exercise of coming up with the direct selling guidelines. तो direct selling guidelines जिस growth से आज गुजर रही है, उसका बहुत श्रेय कुछ हद तक, काफी हद तक हेम पांडे जी को भी जाता है. सो हेम पांडे से हम जानना चाहेंगे गवर्नमेंट का क्या नजरिया ऐसे विषयों पर रहता है, क्योंकि आप काफी लंबे समय तक पॉलिसी मेकिंग, लॉ मेकिंग के रूल्स में इन्वॉल्व रहे हैं. सो हेम सर, आपका भी स्वागत है सर आज के सेशन में. लास्ट में आपसे इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहूंगा श्री योगिंदर सिंह जी को. योगिंदर सिंह जी फाउंडर पार्टनर है योगी एंड पार्टनर्स के. जोगिंदर सिंह जी काफी समय तक भारत की अग्रणी डायरेक्ट सेलिंग कंपनी एमवे के साथ जुड़े रहे हैं. काफी लंबा समय इन्होंने एमवे के साथ बिताया, जहां पर ये एज फ्रॉम अ लेवल ऑफ मैनेजर ही मूव अप टू द मैनेजर लेवल ऑफ सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ लीगल एंड कॉर्पोरेट अफेयर्स. सो योगिंदर जी से, क्योंकि ये डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री कंपनी से भी जुड़े रहे हैं, प्लस he is now there as an independent legal expert working with the companies from the industry. So इनसे भी हम ये जानना चाहेंगे, दोनों पर्सपेक्टिव इनको पता है. तो इस विषय पर हम इनका भी आज मत जरूर लेना चाहेंगे. और यहाँ मैं अपने दर्शकों से एक बात और शेयर करना चाहता हूँ. योगिंदर सिंह जी हमारी संस्था इंडियन डायरेक्ट सेलिंग एसोसिएशन के वर्ष 2010 से 12 के बीच चेयरमैन पर्सन भी रह चुके हैं. तो योगिंदर जी, आपका भी स्वागत है सर आज के सेशन में. तो अब सेशन हम आज का शुरू करते हैं. सबसे पहले मैं विक्रम जी से जानना चाहूंगा. विक्रम जी, डायरेक्ट सेलिंग जो इंडस्ट्री है, ये शायद इंडिया में अपनी तरीके की पहली इंडस्ट्री है जो आगे बढ़ के गवर्नमेंट से खुद कह रही है, मांग कर रही है कि हमें एक लॉ दीजिए, हमें एक रूल दीजिए. सो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कंज्यूमर अफेयर्स या डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ कंज्यूमर अफेयर्स ने, जैसा कि मैंने शेयर किया, गाइडलाइंस भी 2016 में नोटिफाई करी, विच इज ऑफ्टन कंसिडर्ड एज द फर्स्ट स्टेप towards coming up with a formal law for the industry. So आपकी ओपिनियन में सर, why direct selling industry needs a dedicated law or a regulation? How do you think this will help the interest of the consumers as well as the industry? Vikram ji.
Okay, so as you have rightly mentioned, I think the guidelines which were issued in 2016, they can be seen as a first step. Guidelines definitely have brought into force a certain amount of certainty in the entire industry and have given a sense of direction to the entire industry. Now, a comprehensive legislation in this regard will go much further in terms of the remedial measures, in terms of identifying the various other players, and also identifying, giving it more legitimacy in the eyes of the courts. For example, if there is on one hand some sort of dispute with the e-commerce sellers, now are we to then see, in the event of the Consumer Protection Act on one hand and direct selling guidelines on one hand, what is the weight each of them carries? We would want the protective legislative framework of the direct selling industry to also be on par with any other rules or regulations that regulate the other industries, so that we are not placed in some sort of where these guidelines can be changed at any point of time by the government. So legislation is to that extent a step further in the certainty that will be given to the industry, that becomes available to the industry.
जी सर, तो जितना मैं आपकी बात से समझ पाया हूँ, गाइडलाइंस एक सही दिशा में पहला कदम था जिसको जरूरत है और कंक्रीटाइज करने की विद द हेल्प ऑफ स्पेसिफिक डायरेक्ट सेलिंग लॉ और रूल्स इन प्लेस. मैं जानना चाहूंगा राहुल जी से सर, आपका इस बारे में सर क्या सोचना है सर? इंडस्ट्री को क्यों एक डेडिकेटेड लॉ की जरूरत है? ऐसा क्या अचीव हो जाएगा सर एक डेडिकेटेड लॉ से?
Thank you, Chetan ji. And before I start, I want to just acknowledge the presence of the panelists. Hem ji, very, very nice to see you here. Hem ji is one of the architects of the direct selling guidelines. हमको याद है 2016 में जब हम लोगों ने बहुत जूते घिसे थे कंज्यूमर अफेयर्स मिनिस्ट्री में, हेम जी was our pillar of support. And I still remember, जब पासवान जी के ऑफिस में, finally, we got his nod. Hemji was our biggest ambassador there. So Hemji, thank you very much for all your help and support to the direct selling industry. We need people like you, in the ministry. Earlier it was inside, but now it is, outside of the ministry. And thank you for being with us even today. Yoginder ji and Vikram ji, a pleasure to have you as well on the panel. Chetan ji, मेरे हिसाब से India में direct selling is probably the most neglected industry as far as the government's perspective is concerned. Let me just tell you this through some numbers and a little bit of subjective perspective. देखिए, पहले तो मैं आपको करेक्ट कर दूं चेतन जी कि जो CAGR growth rate है, the compounded annual growth rate of direct selling industry in the last 3 years is not 12 but 16%, 16.3% to be precise, which is more than any other industry that you can think of, apart from the new gig economy industries. So I'm not talking about ये नई जो e-commerce .coms है, इनको अगर आप हटा दें तो conventional business में इससे fast CAGR मुझे नहीं लगता किसी भी industry की होगी. First of all, if you look at the size of the industry, लगभग 17,500 crore की industry है, which is not small by any standards. Overall, अगर हम global direct selling industry की बात करें तो it is more than $180 billion, which is very, very large, by the way, double digits as a percentage of FMCG. तो और अगर हम डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज की बात करें विद इन दैट, बिकॉज नॉर्मल ये धारणा ये होती है कि डायरेक्ट सेलिंग तो विकासशील देशों में होती है, डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में होती है, डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में तो दे डोंट कंसिडर दिस एज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट इंडस्ट्री. तो आई वांट टू टेल द व्यूअर्स, सारे व्यूअर्स को मैं ये बताना चाह रहा हूँ इस चैनल के माध्यम से कि सबसे ऊपर द लार्जेस्ट डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री इज यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका. दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री यूएसए में है, और जो टॉप 5 कंट्रीज हैं वर्ल्ड की डायरेक्ट सेलिंग में, सबसे ऊपर है यूएस, उसके बाद है चाइना, उसके बाद है कोरिया, उसके बाद है जर्मनी और उसके बाद है जापान, which means all top 5 countries in direct selling globally are developed countries. Why am I saying this is a neglected industry in India? Because India में अभी तक हम लोग इतने साल से स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं ये प्रूव करने के लिए कि हम एग्जिस्ट करते हैं. हमें डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री को प्लीज सीरियसली देखिए, बिकॉज वी आर एक्चुअली ट्रूली बिल्डिंग एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इन इंडिया. इट्स एन इंडस्ट्री विच रिक्वायर्स जीरो इन्वेस्टमेंट. आप कोई भी अगर आज डायरेक्ट सेलिंग बिजनेस स्टार्ट करना चाहता है, ऑल यू नीड इज a decision that I will start direct selling business. You don't need any investment to come into this business. एक perspective आपके साथ share करता हूँ. I'm sorry, I'm just taking a little bit more time. This corona crisis happened in March. सारी industries का band बजा हुआ है. If you look at, across the board, if you look at any industry in India or abroad, everybody is bleeding. Look at what is happening in direct selling. In the last 4 months, our sales at Modicare, and I know most of the legitimate direct selling companies in India today, their business has not taken a drop. Our business has gone up 50%, Chetanji, 50% in the last 4 months over the average of the pre-corona period. Why is this happening? Why? This is happening because people want entrepreneurship opportunities. People are looking for income, a part-time income. People are looking to make a livelihood through an easy to do opportunity, and direct selling offers that. आपको मैं बता दूं कि हर महीना 3 लाख से ज्यादा लोग आज मोदी के हमारी कंपनी ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं. 3 लाख, इट्स अ ह्यूज नंबर, which means 3 लाख लोग ऐसे हैं जो एक्चुअली कुछ पार्ट टाइम बिजनेस अपॉर्चुनिटी करके अपनी इनकम बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, which is fantastic. Why do we want to scuttle this opportunity? आज के टाइम में, खासकर इस माहौल में जब लोगों के पास एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं है, लोगों की नौकरियां जा रही हैं, लोगों की सैलरीज कट करी जा रही हैं, this is the time to give full support to the direct selling industry. This is the time to actually, the government should be investing in an industry like direct selling. Total FMCG का direct selling का शेयर सिर्फ 4.7% है इंडिया में, only 4.7%. Just imagine. We are not even scratching the surface. 25 साल हो गए हमको अपनी स्ट्रगल करते हुए इस कंट्री में डायरेक्ट सेलिंग में. 25 साल पहले डायरेक्ट सेलिंग का शुरुआत हुई थी, with 3 multinational companies, and Modicare was the only Indian company, one of the pioneers. 25 years we have only been trying to prove our point with the government that we exist, take us seriously. But आज भी हमारे पास एक लॉ नहीं है, आज भी हमारे पास गाइडलाइंस हैं. ऑफ कोर्स गाइडलाइंस हैव सपोर्टेड अस. 2016 में जो गाइडलाइंस आई हैं, They have supported us. It has built legitimacy behind this industry. But look where we are today. Aaj bhi we are pleading in front of the government to give us a law. We are a
Yes, sir.
legitimate product selling company, industry. There are people want entrepreneurship opportunities, but we're really craving for it right now.
जी सर. सो सबसे पहले तो सर मैं जरूर आपकी बात से सहमत हूँ. इंडस्ट्री की CAGR, द कंपाउंडेड एनुअल ग्रोथ रेट हैज बीन 16% ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ लास्ट 4 years. सो मैंने जो अपने कथन में 12.5% एक्चुअली शेयर की थी वो थी लास्ट 3 years आफ्टर रिलीजिंग इमीडिएट 3 years आफ्टर नोटिफिकेशन ऑफ द गाइडलाइंस. सो आपका भी कथन सही है सर, मेरा भी सही है, साल में थोड़ा सा फर्क है जी. और जितना मैं आपकी बात समझ पाया हूँ सर, सबसे जरूरत जो इंडस्ट्री को लॉ की इसलिए है कि शायद ये कहीं ना कहीं इंडस्ट्री को लेजिटिमेसी प्रोवाइड करेगी विद इन दी गवर्नमेंट सर्कल्स. तो गवर्नमेंट की बात चली है तो मैं हेम पांडे जी से जानना चाहूंगा सर, आपका इस विषय पे क्या सोचना है सर, क्यों इंडस्ट्री को एक स्पेसिफिक लॉ की जरूरत है?
Thank you, Chetan. Thank you, learned panelists. Rahul, thank you so much for remembering me. And I think government is doing its bit so far as direct selling in India is concerned, and that is where direct selling industry should consider itself lucky that I was there in 2016. And I have told in your platforms many times that I was pleasantly surprised. Here is an industry that is demanding regulation from government. Pardon my saying so.
Exactly.
People run away from regulations, and we have rest of the regulations in the world, but generally people run away from regulations. Here is one industry. So there must be something. Fortunately, when I was there as Consumer Affairs Secretary, I got introduced to direct selling in 1998 while doing my Masters in Business Administration, and that too in Australia. I learned about direct selling in Australia, not in India, to tell you frankly. But I think the direct selling had entered India then. So it was not new to me. The problem in India is how to convert unorganized into organized. Unorganized, we have internal trade, we have retail, and I think the best of the trading happens in our country as internal trade. But if you look for guidelines or law, it's not there specific. So another reason for direct selling industry, to demand a law was you were also being included in the price chit, the PCMC price chit money circulation scheme. So a law which was negative to the thinking of direct selling, the practice of direct selling, the process of direct selling, that law unfortunately was being was guiding, or rather say threatening direct selling, and direct selling was trying to become organized. That is one. Second, the problem of direct selling, what I have gathered in past 4 years in India, is not with the consumers, not with the companies, but with the distributors, the chain of distributors that you have. So the kind of people that, and not anybody can join direct selling. It's a most challenging kind of, retail business. It's a niche market. You have, like any other business, you have to have the best of the products. Products should meet value for money demands of the consumer. But your people, the distributors, are the key. And I think whenever you demand for a law or the guideline, you must delineate the company, then the distributors, chain of distributors, serious ones, non-serious ones, fly-by-night kind of people, and ultimately consumer rights. 6 rights are there, and fortunately, direct selling uh, is now mentioned in the Consumer Protection Act, which has been after 86 has been rewritten, and very soon you will have rules. So I see all sunrise. Even the sky will not be the limit for direct selling in India in particular, and because we have traditionally been in direct selling but unorganized. Even today you go to Chandni Chowk or any other those markets, the wholesale to retail to everything, it's all unorganized. In a piece of paper, the transactions are written. And what you wanted when the multinational companies entered India in late 90s, I think the direct selling industry looked towards being regulated, to be organized. It's nice to be organized, and
Right, sir.
we do need an organized India, not only in direct selling but in all matters. Well, rule
Right,
of
sir.
law prevails and civic sense is at its best. Thank you for the opportunity.
जी सर, बीइंग कमिंग फ्रॉम गवर्नमेंट आई नो सर आपका स्ट्रेस ऑर्गेनाइज वर्सेस इनऑर्गेनाइज पे ज्यादा रहेगा। और आपकी बात से जितना मैं समझ पाया हूँ सर, यस डायरेक्ट सेलिंग, मेरा व्यक्तिगत तौर पे भी मानना है, डायरेक्ट सेलिंग की जो गाइडलाइंस 2016 में आई हैं, काफी हद तक इस सेक्टर को ऑर्गेनाइज करने में उन्होंने बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले किया है। एटलीस्ट आज हमें जानकारी है भारत में लीगल रूप से कार्यरत कितनी डायरेक्ट सेलिंग कंपनी है। ये शायद गिने चुने सेक्टर्स में ही पॉसिबल है जहां आपके पास एक फाइनाइट नंबर ऑफ कंपनीज है। अदरवाइज आज अगर मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँ या किसी से भी कि भारत में कितनी रिटेल कंपनीज हैं, तो शायद कोई नहीं बता पाएगा। सो वेरी वेल सेड सर जी। लास्ट में क्विकली योगी जी से जरूर जानना चाहूंगा सर, आपके पास इंडस्ट्री का एज वेल एज एन एक्सपर्ट, इंडिपेंडेंट लीगल एक्सपर्ट का भी एक्सपीरियंस है। आपका क्या मानना है सर? आप इंडस्ट्री के शुरुआती दिन में भी एसोसिएट रहे, जबकि कहीं ना कहीं गाइडलाइंस भी नॉट इन प्लेस। व्हाई डू यू थिंक सर, आपको क्यों लगता है एक डायरेक्ट सेलिंग के लॉ की डेडिकेटेड जरूरत है?
गुड मॉर्निंग। सबसे पहले पैनलिस्ट को और अपने व्यूअर्स को गणेश चतुर्थी की शुभकामनाएं। एज यू राइटली सेड, इंडस्ट्री से मैं करीब 18 साल से ऊपर से एसोसिएटेड हूँ, तो आई हैव बीन वेरी डीपली इन्वॉल्व इन द वेरी डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री and the regulations as they took place. Now, I think first and foremost, we need to understand, as Hem Pandey sir rightly said, no industry demands a law. People don't want a law, but why did this industry require a law? And the background to that was that there are a whole lot of players who are taking advantage of this model and fleecing public and people. So that initially led to the demand from the legitimate players that we need to have regulation, because what were happening, and as once again pointed out, there was an act called Price Cheat, and still there, Price Cheat and Money Circulation Scheme Banning Act, which unduly got applied on this legitimate business because of certain wrongdoings by unscrupulous players. So that was the beginning of the demand for regulations. And the law, the genesis of law, or any law for that matter, arises when you have a society which wants to regulate the functioning. So whether it's Constitution of India, whether it is the basic law premises, so we have a law now, or at least the guidelines, which Delhi High Court said it is as good as a law with some controversy, and which is soon going to be probably converted into the rules, which will really have a stamp of a law to regulate this industry. And as you rightly pointed out, and Rahul also said, that what has led and what is the result of this, and why do we still strive for it? Look at the from 2016 onwards, things have smoothened out, except for bit of hicks here and there. Industries have grown. The legitimate players have been able to do their business without being bothered by harassment which they faced otherwise. So I think law for this particular sector, as it affects so many people, because any person can be a direct seller without any investment, is really required, and both for the growth of the industry and for the protection of the consumer. So That has, I think, been the demand of the industry, and rightfully so. And thanks to Mr. Hem Pandey, that who had helped us during this journey and still continues to guide us.
Thank you so much.
Chetan, if I may,
Yes,
Chetan,
sure,
if I may
sure,
just
sure.
add, आई थिंक प्रॉब्लम इस वक्त ये है एज एन आई इंडस्ट्री के बिहाफ पे बात कर रहा हूँ, नॉट एज अ कंपनी ऑफिशियल. आई थिंक प्रॉब्लम ये है कि आटे के साथ घुन पिस रहा है. एंड यू नो इट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट द गवर्नमेंट रिकग्नाइजेज दैट आटे को आटे की जगह मिलनी चाहिए और घुन को हटाने का काम करना चाहिए. आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट द रेगुलेटर्स नीड to do right now, and I'm sorry I'm advising the regulators, but this is the request from the industry that please come and regulate us so that आटा और घुन अलग करके कंज्यूमर उसको सच्चाई देख पाए और एक ऐसी कंपनी के साथ जुड़ पाए जिससे वो अपना लॉन्ग टर्म फ्यूचर जिसके साथ में सिक्योर कर सकता है. बिकॉज अगर मैं कंज्यूमर के एंगल से सोचूं तो बड़ी डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन है, बिकॉज इतनी सारी कंपनीज अभी भी खुल रही हैं, अनस्क्रूपुलस एलिमेंट्स अभी भी ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं डायरेक्ट सेलिंग में, और वो कंपनीज जो हैं वो अपनी एक्सपायरी डेट अपनी पॉकेट में लेके आती हैं और कंज्यूमर को टोपी पहना के चली जाती हैं. कंज्यूमर इज नॉट एबल टू रियली डिस्टिंग्विश बिटवीन अनस्क्रूपुलस एलिमेंट्स एंड आटा और घुन के बीच में जो डिफरेंशिएशन है वो बड़ा जरूरी है, वो लेंस लगाना इस वक्त. एंड आई थिंक दैट इज वेयर वी नीड द गवर्नमेंट्स हेल्प. वी विल डू आवर जॉब, वी जस्ट नीड अ रेगुलेटर टू रियली गिव अस यूज दैट लेंस सो दैट हम आटे और घुन को अलग करें.
जी, आपने रेगुलेटर की बात चली, इनफैक्ट यही हमारा अगला क्वेश्चन है. मैं विक्रम जी से जानना चाहूंगा सर, लॉ या एक डेडिकेटेड डायरेक्ट सेलिंग रूल के बारे में तो हमने बात करी, वो क्यों जरूरी है. इसके अलावा जैसे हमने देखा है इंश्योरेंस सेक्टर के लिए एक डेडिकेटेड रेगुलेटर है इन द फॉर्म ऑफ IRDA. In your opinion, sir, do you think direct selling industry needs a specific regulator as well, in addition to a dedicated law?
So I would say that the purpose of a regulator in any given industry, there are three main purposes, and the direct selling industry has one special purpose where a regulator would be useful, which is over and above the three purposes which are important for all the other industries. First, the three functions are this. One is the marking out of a jurisdiction. That is essentially to say that all the cases or all the issues regarding certification or all the rule making with regard to the direct selling industry will be done by this body or this authority. It cannot be that everybody keeps making rules and it will become a mishmash where the direct sellers don't have a certain thing of what rules they are to follow. For that reason, there has to be a marking of jurisdiction and a certification process after a certain level of scrutiny, that the rules, be it in the form of guidelines or by a law, there is a certifying process that yes, this is a genuine and certified direct seller, direct selling entity. As Mr. Yoginder mentioned, there has been a significant amount of headache that has arisen from the Price Chits Act and Price Chits and Money Circulations Prohibition Act. Now, why is that happening? Because there was at that point of time no process of certification that yes, here is a legitimate direct seller who we have scrutinized and certified that this entity is doing the correct sort of business, which is not a pyramid scheme, which is not banned under that legislation. Now, once you have that sort of certification process, the genuine direct sellers are in a much better position to say that yes, we are doing it in the right sort of way. So that is the second thing, which excludes malicious imposters, which I would say. The people who are working in an illegal manner, they are excluded. That is the second function of the regulator. The third thing, the third function of a regulator is giving a certain amount of certainty or certain amount of building a certain amount of trust in the consumer. The consumer should be able to know that if I get into any sort of transaction with this direct seller or direct selling entity, these are the rights I have. These are the protections that are available to me under law. When we buy any item from any, let us say pharmaceutical drug, we expect, the legitimate expectation is that uh, the Drugs and Cosmetics Act, the drug controller has already approved it, and therefore it is in my interest, or that I can buy it, it will not have any adverse impact on me. That is a sort of trust that has to be built in the consumer, and the regulator will go along. Now, coming to the special reason why the direct selling industry needs a regulator. Now, in any other industry, if there is another business or another person who is selling the same products as me or providing the same services as me, I will consider that person to be a competitor. In the direct selling industry, because of the structure of the industry, the person who is selling the same products as me, providing the same services as me, or he's part of the same direct selling entity as me, is not my competitor, he's my partner. So the amount of trust that I should have in him is very high. I should be able to trust him in such a way that he will not uh, indulge in some illegal practices or try to, sell it in a way that is not permitted. So for that reason, we need a regulator who also brings about trust amongst the direct sellers themselves. In one direct seller should be able to trust the other direct seller. So these, I would say, the 3+1 functions of a regulator, and these are the reasons why a regulator is important.
Definitely, sir. I think you have touched upon a very important point that the regulator will ensure that there is some sort of certification process in place. And it's going to be a continuous, exercise. It's not that you have once applied, you have got the registration, and then it's over for you. But a regulator will ensure that a company continues to apply or abide by the, terms and conditions of the law. मैं हेम पांडे जी सर से जानना चाहूंगा सर, लॉ की जरूरत पे हमने चर्चा करी, लॉ की जरूरत है, रेगुलेटर की आपको क्यों लगता है सर जरूरत है या नहीं है?
सी रेगुलेटर होना अच्छा है, बट रेगुलेटर वही अच्छा है, वही रेगुलेशन अच्छा है जिसमें क्विक डिसीजंस होते हैं. इफ इट कंपाउंड्स योर मिजरी, मैं मेरा एक्सपीरियंस, एंड फॉर्चुनेटली or unfortunately, I have always worked in Government of India in regulating ministries. I had worked in mining, I had worked in environment, and I retired from consumer affairs. All three are regulating ministries, and many a times it is, you can ask why should government come in picture and all. Yes, I mean, first, the industry itself should be able to regulate its doings or undoings. Self-regulation is the best. Government has its hands full with so many things. So government will only react to an industry when there is some dispute or some problem. Otherwise, I mean, industry, if it's a self-regulating, creates huge barrier for fly-by-night operators, and in your case, direct selling case, distributors with genuine passion for direct selling should only be there. And the quality of product, you should not sell everything on the earth. You should have a niche market, niche products, the products which are being sold by everyone. And if there is no distinguishing line, it becomes very difficult for a discerning consumer. As a consumer, I would not distinguish if I am looking for a particular brand, particular product. Obviously, and direct selling is more, it's not law, it's a relationship. The relationship that a company with the distributor, and distributor builds with the consumer. If that relationship is strong on ethical and moral areas, I think all the challenges that direct selling industry is facing will go away. The regulator's role only comes when two of you fight, or or if the fight is multiple between consumer, between distributor, between the company, and you have IDSA, FDSA, you are the body, you are regulating. The kind of complaints we receive is mainly from the distributors against the company. You hardly hear from the consumer, because consumer has its rights. The 6 rights of the consumer as per Consumer Protection Act, the redressal of grievances through a 3-tier system, and if the companies listen to the consumer through a relationship that direct selling does, consumer will have no issue whatsoever. If value for money is ensured. The challenge to direct selling is to keep its house in order, and ensure that the fly by night, the the bad advertisement about over motivational motivation of bringing people and telling them that you will make money like anything. That's a wrong signal. Everybody can't do direct selling. I mean, I can't do it or you can't do it, because it needs a special kind of trait, and for that matter, everybody. I mean, we have Vikram Hegde, who is expert in law. I think everybody can't be a lawyer. We have Yoginder, we have even Rahul, even Chetan for your So we have special traits. We should not venture into an area with a trait if I don't have. So regulation becomes easy. As a regulator, as a government should decide then and there. Should not delay any decision as a regulator, because otherwise it compounds the misery of anybody. Thank you.
राइट सर। योगिता सर, आपसे जानना चाहेंगे, हेम पंडित जी ने सेल्फ रेगुलेशन की बात चलाई। इससे पहले विक्रम जी ने स्ट्रेस किया क्यों एक रेगुलेटर चाहिए, क्या इंडस्ट्री को एक रेगुलेटर इन प्लेस अगर होगा तो फायदा होगा। आपका इस विषय में क्या जानना है सर? सेल्फ रेगुलेशन भारतीय संदर्भ में कामयाब हो सकती है या गवर्नमेंट को एक डेडिकेटेड रेगुलेटर की जरूरत है?
See, I think Vikram has quite nicely summarized why the need for regulator is there. When the guidelines came, and my biggest fear is, if you look at it today, there are about 450 companies who have filed their declarations. Because there is no specialized person or body who can understand and decipher the difference between the legitimate and illegitimate, all of them are saying that I have done this. And the biggest blow to the credibility of the guidelines or the regulations would be when companies who have filed this and they are cheating and they run away. Okay. So I think because given the nature of our industry, we need a regulator to be able to certify and say that these are the proper companies. And even when these companies, when they file the guidelines, when they file their business plans and then subsequently change them to cheat, that they should be able to monitor and correct before people and direct seller get cheated. So I think that is probably the biggest requirement why we need a regulator. Otherwise, Mr. M. Pandey is absolutely right that self-regulation is the best, and most of the industry strive for that. But in our case, the need arises because we touch so many people, and because like an insurance, that person is specialist, they understand the business, and it's a very specific business. Similarly, direct selling is, because of the nature of our plan, it is a very specific requirement. We sell the same products like any other FMCG company, but because of the compensation plan and the nuances that come into being, we need a person who understands these and then able to say, yes, this is proper. And so that is why I think we need to have a regulator. Secondly, I think also the need would arise is because the PCMC Act still continues to remain, and we need a body to go to if ever the industry or the player are challenged. So, and regulator who understands our business probably would be the best person. for the growth of this industry and protection. So I definitely feel yes. Unlike other industries who do not want regulator, we would require probably a regulator for direct selling industry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I think unanimously our panelist agrees that a regulator will be a booster to the whole initiative of coming up with a direct selling law. राहुल जी कुछ कहना चाहेंगे सर? आपका कमेंट मैं इस मुद्दे पे चाहूंगा, उसके बाद मैं आपसे शुरू करूंगा अगला क्वेश्चन। जी राहुल सर।
मेरे हिसाब से my solution is somewhere in between what Hemji and Yugender ji and Vikram ji are saying. I think the problem today really is that the direct selling industry is not behaving like one unit. If we all are, so let me just detail this out a little bit. So every company has a set of code of ethics. Whether it's a multinational company or an Indian company, every company has got internal code of ethics जो उस कंपनी के ऑपरेशंस को गवर्न करते हैं. डायरेक्ट सेलर्स जो उनके साथ में अगर कोई भी कोड ऑफ एथिक वायलेशन होता है तो कंपनीज टेक अ स्टेप to correct that, if it requires suspension of direct seller, etc., etc. So there are some hard calls that we take as companies, and every good, legitimate company will have a strong code of ethics laid out. I think what we are lacking today is, okay, so we basically need it in two steps. First, once the law comes in, then there is a set of guidelines which have become a law, which everybody needs to follow. That's very clear. Then there has to be a self-regulating industry body, which can possibly be IDSA. IDSA should lay out a set of code of ethics for the industry to say that this is the code of ethics, that the industry, everybody who is going to be part of IDSA, because we all know that IDSA is the most legitimate body in India for direct selling. So you are part of WFDSA, and सबसे पहले तो ये this itself, IDSA का ठप्पा itself should be like a ISI mark or like a standard for a company. I'm just saying that. So that becomes the first thing. Now, because we are sort of registered, we are affiliated to IDSA, there will have to be an IDSA set of code of ethics which the entire industry body has to comply with. Otherwise, then there should be like a panel within the industry which kind of reviews it on from time to time. Because I agree with all the panelists that eventually, even if you implement the law, there will have to be a sort of a self-regulation. So I'm just taking self-regulation to another level to say, how about having an industry-wide self-regulation, not just a company-wide? And before we really do that, what is important is that the entire industry needs to get united on a common platform. Rather, abhi kya ho raha hai ki sab ek dusre ki, people are pulling legs, right, here and there. Rather than that, if we all work like one unit and drive this agenda, it will be in the long-term interest of all our direct sellers, those millions of people who have joined direct selling and who are going to join direct selling, to make their future in the times to come. So so my solution would be a hybrid between what Hemji is suggesting and the other two.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. I think this is what you are over 22 years of industry experience speaking, finding a way out between what the government is saying and what the legal experts are saying. So thank you so much. And I would like to ask a specific question to our legal experts, Vikram ji and Yogendra ji. Sir, आपके हिसाब से, we'll start with Vikram ji, of course. तीन important provisions अगर मैं बात करूं कि रूल्स के अंदर प्रावधान होने चाहिए, आपके हिसाब से आप वो तीन कोर बिंदु क्या समझते हैं सर? दो या तीन, जो भी आप.
So one important provision I would say is the identification of pyramid schemes, that who is operating in an illegal manner. And what is really important in that is the proviso in the draft rules, which can be tweaked around a little bit depending on the needs of the industry. But it is important that who is not a pyramid scheme, that who is not illegal, that also has been delineated. So that is the other important part. The other thing I would say, we should step out of the rules and look at it. Now, when these rules are concretized and notified as being officially accepted, they should become the sole set of legislation which governs the direct selling industry. It should not be that the direct selling industry has to comply with the Price Fix Act also, complies with this also, and also complies with, I don't know, maybe some other legislation. So the third important provision that has to come in is a non-obstante clause, which we see in many industries, which says that notwithstanding anything else contained in any other law, this is what will apply to these people. This is what will apply to this industry. So that sort of non-obstante clause, which covers the entire industry, is required.
Definitely, sir. I think the most important point, in my personal opinion, that you have raised is that there should be a provision that this is going to be the sole law or the law for the industry, and it basically takes away the ambit of all other laws that are misapplied on you. Because in absence of such a provision, any direct selling law would be just another law added to the whole bunch of laws applicable to the industry. योगिंदर सर आपसे जानना चाहेंगे सर तीन इंपॉर्टेंट प्रावधान जो आपके हिसाब से डायरेक्ट सेलिंग रूल्स में होने चाहिए.
Yeah, the present guidelines and which are now there for conversion for rules, I think they are very nicely and properly drafted, and they contained most. And among those, if I were to say, is obviously the provision of being able to distinguish pyramid from a direct selling, which Vikram rightly pointed out. So it is already there. Only question is, how do you concretize that? How do you say that you are able to enforce that, for that matter? Second, once again, I think the rules still contains those, and so among those would be the resolution of the disputes of the consumer and the direct seller. Is that second provision, which is probably most important over there. And third, which we struggle with still, is about how do you make the interest of direct seller in e-commerce, because while those guidelines are there, the courts are interpreting in their own manner. Even if the rules get implemented, how is that going to regulate? So in terms of the industry, these are the three which I would like to see to be there in the coming rules, and having more teeth in those.
Definitely, sir. So I think both of our legal experts here are of the view that yes, the clear distinction between a genuine direct selling company and a pyramid scheme should and will be the core, center of any rule that will be coming. Pyramid scheme के issue पर ही मैं राहुल जी से पूछना चाहूँगा सर, since you are representing the entire direct selling industry in today's session, सर आपके हिसाब से रूल्स आने के बाद ये इशू जैसे हम कहते हैं डायरेक्ट सेलर्स के मन में आज भी एक डर है कि कहीं हम किसी पिरामिड स्कीम या पॉन्जी स्कीम के साथ तो नहीं एसोसिएट हो रहे. क्या आपको लगता है सर, आपकी ओपिनियन क्या है इस विषय पे? रूल्स आने के बाद क्या ये स्थिति कुछ चेंज होगी सर?
Sorry, I went on mute. Definitely, Chetan ji. I think when the direct selling guidelines came out, यही सवाल उस टाइम भी पूछा गया था कि क्या कंज्यूमर या कंसल्टेंट जो नया डायरेक्ट सेलर है, वो जुड़ना चाह रहा है, डायरेक्ट सेलिंग में आना चाह रहा है, उसकी लाइफ पे कोई फर्क पड़ेगा, उसकी परसेप्शन पे कोई फर्क पड़ेगा डायरेक्ट सेलिंग गाइडलाइंस के आने के बाद? मेरा ये मानना है, लुकिंग बैक एट द लास्ट about 4 years since the guidelines came, I think फर्क पड़ा है. Definitely the direct selling industry has gone a few steps higher on that parameter. However, अब because अभी तक लॉ नहीं आ पाया है, the momentum on that has slowed. जब ये लॉ आ जाएगा, because क्या हुआ है कि पूरी डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री में जो लेजिटिमेट लोग थे, वो उनकी we got more voice when we got the guidelines, right? We got more teeth, so we started talking about guidelines. But over a period of time, what happened was direct selling guidelines became a self-declaration. तो आप अगर कोई पिरामिड स्कीम भी लेके आए, आपने बोला मैं डायरेक्ट सेलिंग गाइडलाइंस फॉलो करता हूँ, ये रहा मेरा एफिडेविट, यू कैन परफॉर्म बिजनेस इन दिस कंट्री एज अ डायरेक्ट सेलिंग एंटिटी. जैसा अभी योगेंद्र जी ने बताया 350-400 कंपनीज हैं, आई थिंक इससे भी ज्यादा नंबर हो गया अभी, जो डायरेक्ट सेलिंग गाइडलाइंस को उनके हिसाब से, सेल्फ डिक्लेरेशन के हिसाब से वो फॉलो करती है. Right now, self-declaration is still a self-declaration. It is, you're not bound by a law. It is still a self-declaration. जब ये लॉ बन जाएगा तो इन कंपनीज की छटनी हो जाएगी, बिकॉज देन द लॉ विल कैच होल्ड ऑफ यू अगर आपने कंप्लाई नहीं किया तो, जो आज लॉ नहीं कर पा रहा है बिकॉज लॉ इटसेल्फ इज नॉट एनफोर्स्ड. So I feel that once the law comes in place, companies like ours, these IDSA companies, which deal with genuine products and genuine, building future of our direct sellers, giving them a true entrepreneurship opportunities, will get more legitimacy and will get more voice and will get more substantiation to go out in the market. So मेरे हिसाब से बहुत फर्क पड़ने वाला है, because हिंदुस्तान में सेल्फ डिक्लेरेशन versus imposed law makes a huge difference. तो जितने भी बरसाती मेंढक हैं जो आज लोगों के फ्यूचर के साथ खेल रहे हैं, जो एक्सपायरी डेट, जिनका मैं बोल रहा था, जो एक्सपायरी डेट पॉकेट में लेके आते हैं, ये सब हट जाएंगे एक बार अगर लॉ आएगा, तो ये सब डर जाएंगे. So I really believe that this is going to make a huge difference. And not only that, Chetan ji, the other thing is that there are a lot of direct selling companies across the world which are waiting to come to India. आज इंडिया में डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री में अगर हम ग्लोबल डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री की बात करें तो इंडिया का नंबर 15वां है, जबकि पॉपुलेशन सेकंड हाईएस्ट है वर्ल्ड में. ये क्यों है? बिकॉज डायरेक्ट सेलिंग ठीक तरह से अभी तक दौड़नी चालू नहीं हुई है हिंदुस्तान में. So many international companies have not come to India only because of this reason, that there is no law governing today this industry. Once that happens, you will see that इस industry की evolution होगी, and that will be the best period of this industry. If the law comes tomorrow, the next 5 years will be the best time direct selling has ever seen in this country.
डेफिनेटली सर. मैं हिंद सर से जानना चाहूंगा, सर लॉ आने के बाद गाइडलाइंस ने काफी हद तक मैनेज ऑफ पिरामिड स्कीम्स को उजागर किया और डायरेक्ट सेलर्स को एक वर्किंग फ्रेमवर्क प्रोवाइड किया जिसके जरिए वो डिस्टिंग्विश कर सके क्या पिरामिड स्कीम है, क्या एक जेन्युइन डायरेक्ट सेलिंग अपॉर्चुनिटी है. आपके हिसाब से सर रूल्स आने के बाद क्या इसमें कोई फर्क पड़ेगा? ये चीज और इम्प्रूव होगी, डायरेक्ट सेलर्स विल बी मोर एम्पावर्ड? आपका सर इस बारे में क्या सोचना है?
Yes, Chetan, I agree with all of you, particularly Rahul, who has hands on the industry. It took about 2 decades to get some kind of guideline, and I think it has done good to the industry. As you, Chetan, yourself said, CAGR from 5 to 12 to Rahul says now updated one is 16, and if you remember, I had been telling you to go into $10 billion industry, and by the next 2-3 years you are around $2 billion. So you have a great future. You have to set your house in order. You will have to, law will come. Already it's there in the Consumer Act. Direct selling, fine, mention in definition. So you are safe there, and rules will come. Yes, which department will like your issues? That's my view is PIIT is the right department for driving direct selling. But till such time, consumer affairs is welcome because obviously the consumer affairs is the regulation for consumer rights, consumer empowerment. You will not get that kind of fair time from them, whereas DPIIT is meant for an internal trade gone to them. So that's the right place. But anyway, that will be sorted out. Government is government. Law will come, but progressive, right-meaning direct sellers, their distributors should, trust on themselves focus on the ethics of a fair play, fair business, fair trade, value for money to the consumer, and best of the products. May direct selling in this country, those who believe in ethical trade, fair trade. I think there are, and direct selling itself is a huge challenge. It's a relationship. So relationship marketing is different from the conventional retail business. So all the best, IDSA in particular, and I guess this platform is doing fairly well. I was going through the comments, the comments that are coming. So I salute IDSA, and maintain your code of ethics, and be strict, and there should be, I think, as the members of IDSA, they should be exemplary in fair trade. And long live direct selling in India. I see a great future for this business in our country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. And you have always been very vocal about the direct selling industry on whichever platform you have, been to or you have been a part of. Last issue before we conclude this session. We all know, ये सिर्फ इंडिया स्पेसिफिक एक इशू नहीं है, वर्ल्ड ओवर जहाँ जहाँ डायरेक्ट सेलिंग है, वहाँ वहाँ डायरेक्ट सेलिंग की रिलेशन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ई कॉमर्स हैज ऑलवेज बीन अ मैटर ऑफ ग्रेट कंटेंशन. दोनों बिजनेसेस, डायरेक्ट सेलिंग इंडस्ट्री, ई कॉमर्स इंडस्ट्री के अपने अपने आर्ग्यूमेंट्स हैं. Both of them have their own genuine set of arguments. However, what we feel as part of the direct selling industry that consumer के जो rights हैं या जो consumer protection है, that should be of utmost importance. और डायरेक्ट सेलिंग गाइडलाइंस में जो इंपॉर्टेंट प्रावधान है, जैसे कि बाय बैक पीरियड या कूलिंग ऑफ पीरियड, कहीं ना कहीं ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म्स ये बेनिफिट्स कंज्यूमर को शायद पास ऑन नहीं कर पा रहे. एंड दिस हैज बीन द मैटर ऑफ डिबेट. डायरेक्ट सेलिंग कंपनीज इस इशू को समय समय पर उठाती रही हैं. मैं जानना चाहूंगा, विल स्टार्ट विद विक्रम जी ऑफ कोर्स, क्या भविष्य में सर आपको लगता है कि देयर इज गोइंग टू बी अ सॉल्यूशन फॉर दिस, या इवेंचुअली बोथ इंडस्ट्रीज हैव टू कम एंड डिस्कस टुगेदर ऑन अ कॉमन प्लेटफॉर्म so that ultimately the consumer benefits? Vikram ji.
Yes. So first, I would like to point out some of the fundamental differences, or rather, fundamentally, how both these industries are polar opposites in the way of doing business. One of the key features of the direct selling business is that there is a personal connection between the direct seller and the consumer. It operates on a personal network. If I'm a direct seller, I have a very good understanding of the person who is buying my product. Is he a child? Is he of a mental capacity to understand how a product that I'm selling to him is to be used? Is he a person, if I sell this product to him, will it be harmful for him? All these things, as a direct seller, I know my customer very well. As opposed to an e-commerce platform where I have no clue if my buyer is a human being or not. I put it on the e-commerce platform, any person anywhere in the world or any algorithm can buy a e-commerce product online. One of the salient features of the direct selling industry is because of this personal connect. The direct selling industry is able to sell products with such conditions where they know their consumer very well. But in the case of e-commerce, this is not possible at all. And when the direct selling industry products start going onto the e-commerce platform, not only does it have an adverse impact on the direct selling industry, on the direct seller, but also on the consumer. He is essentially buying a product which has to be, where the transaction has to happen with a lot of understanding of the buyer and the seller and the product itself, as opposed to on e-commerce nobody knows anything. Okay, as in maybe there are some who know, but there is no guarantee that the person knows very well. If I'm selling a product that is to be sold only to adults and not to be sold to children, I do not know on the e-commerce platform who is buying it. So that is one of the fundamental differences. Now, from this, where does it take off? And for example, what we saw in the Delhi High Court recently, that some of the some of the arguments that are taken by the e-commerce platforms, that we are the whole stance of e-commerce platforms is to distance themselves from selling. They say that we are only intermediaries. They refer to section 79 of the Information Technology Act and say that we are only intermediaries. We do not have any control on what is being sold or what is being given. Now, on that, there is a lot of other litigation, or a lot of other issues that the e-commerce industry is facing. For example, if we take the prenatal diagnostic technique, that in India it is illegal to find out whether the fetus is a male or a female. But that sort of thing is not illegal elsewhere because India has its own specific societal problem. So e-commerce industry is today being forced to take out all those advertisements and products which go towards identifying the gender of a fetus. So if they can identify and take out those kinds of products, they can very well be directed to take out products which are meant only for direct selling. So perhaps that sort of thing is now to come to your question of whether this has to be decided legally or whether it has to be decided by understanding between the two industries. I would say that these are two very fast changing industries. And today we may think of Amazon and Flipkart as the two biggest players. And I would say it is a matter of months.
Sorry to intervene. I would request other panelists to kindly mute themselves. There's some disturbance coming. Yeah, please continue, Vikramji.
Ah. Now, the nature of these industries is that the players are very transient. The top players of today may not be the top players tomorrow. If Amazon and Flipkart are the top players today, I would say it's a matter of a month before. I do not know if tomorrow Reliance Jio might come up with a e-commerce platform and they might become the biggest player in the industry in no time. And if someone who has a broad base amongst consumers in their thing, if Facebook decides to launch an e-commerce platform, they can get any number of consumers and become the biggest platform in no time. So an understanding based relationship can exist only if there is a certain fixed number or fixed identity of the players in the e-commerce industry, which is not there. So the understanding has to happen in an environment of legal certainty. Your law should be certain, and in that environment you will have an understanding between the two industries. I would say it has to be both. So there has to be a legal solution and a commercial solution.
Definitely, sir. I think it's quite long. E-commerce platforms have been, hiding behind the veil of being an intermediary, as they claim, or being a facilitator, as they claim, before law and before the public. But yes, the issue needs to be addressed with, utmost concern now. I would like to request Yoginder ji now. योगी सर, आपका क्या मानना है सर इस विषय पर? क्या ये इशू, ये लड़ाई, ये झगड़ा चलता रहेगा सर जब तक बिजनेस है, या डू यू थिंक देयर इज गोइंग टू बी अ मिडिल वे फॉर बोथ ऑफ द इंडस्ट्रीज? सर, you need to unmute yourself, Yoginder ji.
Yeah, can you hear? No. See,
Yes, we can hear.
Definitely on the e-commerce platform, the direct seller products should not be permitted. It is not reconciling. We need to understand the basic of the direct selling industry. This industry is the greatest developer of entrepreneurs across the world. And it is a low cost business opportunity. In India, it's a free cost business opportunity. And why it has developed? It has developed on a personal connect. Any person, by making efforts in order to develop his customer base, they can go out and sell and earn a living for himself. For this same reason, the direct selling companies do not permit products to be sold on retail shops. Okay, so selling those products now on an e-commerce platform is no different. As soon as you permit this, the entrepreneur, the direct seller, will go out of business. Now you can say everybody can put it on the Amazon and Flipkarts. The very basic of the industry is gone thereafter. Second, what happens is there is a high amount of predatory pricing which happens. Okay, and that is affecting the free entrepreneurship of these direct sellers. If I can offer a product at 20% discount, my competitor will offer at 25% discount, and one with the deepest pocket will survive and others will go out of the business. That is not the basic of this industry. Third, while it may seem presently that consumer benefit by discounted prices, but in long run it doesn't happen. In where there is a fair competition, consumer will always benefit. Where competition become monopolized, consumer will suffer. So these two industries, we have to see the basis. Now, e-commerce platform permitting other products, not the direct selling other products, same logic can be applied. But in that case, we need to keep in mind that in those companies, wherever, let's say, Sony products being sold at a discounted prices and all that, just to pick a name or example, at the end of the day, it's a company product sales that is happening. And they may not, while they will be affected as well, they may not be that badly affected. In case of a direct selling company, it is, while you can say the direct selling company's sales stands in the same footing, this industry is different. There are direct sellers involved, there are entrepreneurs involved who are getting out of the system because of this unfair competition. So I am of belief that direct selling products should not be permitted on e-commerce platform.
राहुल जी से जानना चाहेंगे सर इस विषय पे आपका कहना है बिकॉज वी नो मोदी केयर एज अ कंपनी इज आल्सो fighting a legal battle also with the e-commerce platforms on this pertinent burning issue. So इस विषय पर सर आपकी राय जानना चाहेंगे और एक कंक्लूडिंग कमेंट सर.
No, I think I'm glad you asked this question, Chetanji. It's a very, very relevant question. Or it goes back to my previous point that, the lot of hard work that was done in 2014, 15, 16, when Hempandiji was there to get the guidelines. But then because the guidelines never became a law, all these things are happening. Guidelines बड़ी clearly ये बात बोलती हैं कि किसी भी e-commerce platform को किसी भी direct selling entity के products बेचने से पहले direct selling entity की permission लेनी पड़ेगी. Very clearly laid down by the Consumer Affairs Ministry in the guidelines. It was very, very clearly laid out as a key point. For some time, it was imposed. Honorable High Court ने एक favorable judgment भी दी थी, जिसको बारे में हम लोग सब जानते हैं. But then now the matter is sub judice. Hence, I don't want to comment too much about that. It's gone to the higher court, and I'm sure because हमारे साथ में वो लाखों लोगों के futures इस decision के साथ linked हैं. I'm very sure that we will come out with flying colors on this one. But let me tell you the basic issue. The basic issue is what? Today, why does the consumer go to e-commerce? देखो, कंज्यूमर को हम नहीं रोक सकते. कंज्यूमर ई-कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म पे इसलिए जाता है बिकॉज वहां पे उसको सस्ता सामान मिलता है और दूसरी चीज उसको कन्वीनियंस मिलती है. ऑर्डर प्लेस किया, डब्बा घर में पैक होके आ गया. राइट? दीज आर द टू थिंग्स. पीपल डोंट गो टू Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, all these platforms because they're loyal to that platform. They go to these platforms to get cheaper products, brand with cheaper price, and lot of options and convenience. Order kiya, the box will reach home, cash on delivery, everything is fine. What the direct selling industry needs to do is two things. One, of course, we should see when the guidelines become a law, and hence, put up our case very strongly in the honorable courts to make sure that we protect the rights of our direct sellers very clearly. That is a very, very clear agenda that we have, and we also have, 3 other, IDSA members who are also with us in this fight, who have joined hands with us. I'm not naming everybody here, but we are now going to the apex court to fight for the rights of our direct sellers. This is one. Second important part also, this is my message to all direct sellers. is to also offer ultimate convenience to the consumer. If we can offer protection to our direct sellers against e-commerce, and if we can offer the kind of convenience जो Amazon, Flipkart के consumers को मिलती है, उस टाइप की convenience अगर हम offer कर सकते हैं, तो in any case direct selling का जो consumer है वो इन platforms पे जाने वाला नहीं है. Because let us understand, and this is my message to all the direct sellers in the industry, not just Modi Care direct sellers, but everybody who does direct selling business, all direct selling entrepreneurs. This is my message to them. See, remember, if you are going to do your business legitimately, if you're going to service your consumer properly, if you're going to, we offer a 30-day return policy, offer that to your consumer, take care of them, offer convenience at doorsteps to your consumers, you will see that your consumers, आपके customers आपसे दूर जाने वाले नहीं हैं. So in my view, what is very important is, like I said, two things. One, we fight the battle for our direct sellers in the honorable court, and I'm sure we will win. The law will come, and that will anyway support us, because law में भी हम लोग, चेतन जी आप जानते हैं, बड़ा clearly लिखा हुआ है कि direct selling entities से e-commerce platform को permission लेनी पड़ेगी. और दूसरा, direct sellers have to build technology platforms to enable convenience. आज अगर direct selling entity convenience, so what is the edge we have versus e-commerce platforms? What is the edge? The big edge is that आप Amazon पे या Flipkart पे अपना सामान खरीदने जाते हैं for price and for convenience, but direct selling, अगर हमने वो convenience wrap करके अपने consumer को दे दी, तो हम लोगों को अपने e-commerce platform पे ला सकते हैं, और उसके साथ में हम उनको ऑफर कर सकते हैं एडवोकेसी, जो Amazon पे आपको कभी नहीं मिलेगी, यानी रिकमेंडेशन. हमारे डायरेक्ट सेलर्स रेकमेंड करके आपको बता सकते हैं आपके लिए कौन सा प्रोडक्ट ठीक है, जो Amazon या Flipkart आपके लिए कभी नहीं कर सकता. So I believe that it's a very, very, very important subject, and it is in the long-term interest of all our direct sellers at large, not just Modi Care consultants, all direct sellers in the industry. And we need to protect their rights, and we need to really, all of us in the industry have to come together, work with the government authorities, and plead to the higher courts to make this happen. I'm sure when the law comes, the job will become much, much easier.
Definitely,
Thank
sir. And since we have already crossed our originally set limit of 1 hour, and as much as I would love this session to continue, but we have to bring the proceedings to an end. So concluding comment from Raoji, and then we'll move on to Hem Pandey sir.
Well, my concluding comments are very simple, and very similar to my starting comments, Chetan ji, because the subject is about regulation of direct selling in India. My concluding comments really are that this is to the government authorities, to all our regulators, everybody around, even to the larger direct selling industry and the FMCG industry and everybody else, that please take direct selling industry seriously. This is the #1 entrepreneurship opportunity, and it's the easiest entrepreneurship opportunity that you can have. And in today's environment, in today's times, when Corona is really shaking India, if there is one industry that can make India, it is direct selling. So while Corona can keep shaking India and keep shaking the world, please help direct selling industry to start rebuilding India. I think that's the key, and we have seen that in the last 4 months. Like I was saying, I am sure most of the direct selling companies must have really seen a growth in momentum in the last 4 months. People want to come here. Let's give them the right platform so that they can make a long-term future with direct selling.
Definitely, sir. And I think Sameer ji ने शायद ये phrase coin किया था when he was there as part of IDSA webinar last to last month, that Corona shakes India, direct selling makes India. और ये जो अपने आप में बड़ी रिदमिक जिंगल है, ये कहीं ना कहीं माइंड में स्टक हो गई है सर. कोरोना शेक्स इंडिया, डायरेक्ट सेलिंग मेक्स इंडिया. तो हेम पांडे सर आपसे कंक्लूडिंग कमेंट जानना चाहेंगे सर.
बहुत बढ़िया चेतन. आई थिंक 60 मिनट्स आपने कहा था, तो 80 मिनट्स तो ऑलरेडी हो गए हैं. तो आई हैव couple of quick ones on the e-commerce and direct selling. देखिए, when direct selling started, उस समय e-commerce नहीं था, है ना. आपका, and pardon my saying so, आपका distributor is the e-commerce fellow, right? So मेरे ख्याल से ई कॉमर्स से compete न करके एक व्यू यहाँ पर उठ रहा है कि भाई उस प्लेटफॉर्म में डायरेक्ट सेलर्स अपना सी, अगर डायरेक्ट सेलर, आई डोंट नो वेदर यू एग्री, इफ डायरेक्ट सेलर शुड हैव अ प्रोप्राइटरी आइटम और सर्विस, अपना प्रोडक्ट अगर है तो ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म इज वेलकम टू यू, राइट. अभी जो ये कोरोना पीरियड में आपको डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में जो प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, इफ यू so work on this also, then segregating, because when you started they were not there, and they are just picking up product A and working on margins and delivering to consumer, right? And the consumer convenience, all those things Rahul has explained. So work on that. And what ultimately Corona saying, then so this is one industry for an entrepreneur where you do not need much of a capital. What you need is passion and learning from failures. An entrepreneur doesn't need, because already there's a platform, there's a direct selling company with good products. You have to reach those products by building a relationship, and I know for sure we all humans are not equally expert in building relationships. So those of the entrepreneurs who can build relationship and who can find a direct selling company selling real good products which have value for money, and through which you can build a relationship with a consumer, though they are welcome. So this is an ideal platform, and I think every trade, every game, every area of work needs passion, needs hard work. There are no shortcuts, there are no easy money. If one believes on that, direct selling is the future for India. Thank you, IDSA. Thank you, all the learned panelists. It's always, our learning curve never ends. Let's learn from our failure and succeed. All the very best. Long live IDSA.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yogendra sir, concluding comments from your side. Sir, you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, okay. My compliments to you, Chetan, Executive Committee, and member companies of IDSA to continue to take this initiative forward of regulation. I hope that it comes out fast. And the direct selling industry in India is, I would love to see it as a top 3 in the world, to take its legitimate place among those players. So all the best to the industry.
Thank you, sir. Finally, Vikramji, concluding comment from your side.
Yeah, so thank you for putting together this webinar. I think it's been very educative for all of us, and especially for me, I can speak for myself. Now, I think I was very impressed to hear the growth rates of this industry over the last few years. And even while rising at such astronomical rates, it's impressive that it's really appreciated that this industry is asking for regulation and seeking stability and integrity. And it's very obviously, as businesses, every business will look for growth. It's very rare to see a business looking to keep integrity, and it's I think that's something that should be appreciated, and that's something that the government should completely support the direct selling industry. I think with that I would like to conclude that. I hope that.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much to all our esteemed panelists who took time out of their busy schedules and agreed to be a part of this initiative of IDSA. एक दशक से ज्यादा लंबे से ये रूल का ज्वलंत मुद्दा चल रहा है, तो 1 घंटे के वेबिनार में इसका सोल्यूशन मिल जाएगा ये सोचना शायद कहीं ना कहीं ज्यादती होगी, बट यस, हमारे एक्सपर्ट्स ने आज काफी अच्छे पॉइंट्स हमारे सामने शेयर करे। सबसे पहली बात, इंडस्ट्री खुद आगे बढ़कर एक लॉ की डिमांड कर रही है, विच इज अनप्रेसिडेंटेड, विच इज अनफोर्सीन। कोई इंडस्ट्री खुद गवर्नमेंट से एक लॉ की मांग नहीं करती। सो यस, history tells us direct selling ka law is set to increase the pace of the growth of the industry, and as Rahul ji said, actual growth phase तो उस दिन से शुरू होगा जब एक हमारा dedicated law आ जाएगा। So with this note, I would like to bring this session to a end, and thank you so much once again, and we'll join again next week on another topic concerning the industry. So till then, ख्याल रखिए. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chetan. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. All the
Thank you.